Hello everyone, I'm CACS Riddhi Jain and today we are going to do analytical procedure essay 520. For whom all this particular topic is relevant, if you're giving your November 23 attempt, this is a specific chapter in your case. The chapter number is chapter number 8, analytical procedure essay 520. What about May 24 attempt onwards? This essay is covered in your audit evidence, page number 4.97. I've already encircled it. What I'll do is I'll try to compress essay for this particular essay 520 analytical procedure in a very short way so that you get a clear understanding of what analytical procedure is. Before I take you to the world of analytical procedure, first I'll take you to the world of cricket in order to make you understand what exactly this analytical procedure is. If you follow cricket, so you might have seen there is a batsman and there is a bowler. So if I place a circle, there is a batsman and there is a bowler. So what happens is whenever a ball is given to a batsman, he plays that particular ball, right? If batsman he is here and here is the bowler. So what happens is this particular batsman tries to hit the shot. He might place a straight drive shot, a helicopter shot, a sweep shot, offside, onside, hook shot, any kind of shot in square leg, wherever he wants, this man will play the shot. Now what happens is eventually over the screen it's shown that where all this particular batsman has placed the shot when the ball was placed, and then it shows that this is the major area where this particular cricketer is playing, and there's a particular analysis. This is called as 360-degree analysis when a cricketer plays the shot. Why it is done? Now it is done in order to analyze the cricketer, the bowler, the batsman is analyzed that where all he plays his shots. Now when you understand where all he plays his shot, it's for a good knowledge of bowler that where to place the ball so that this guy gets out. For the batsman, he understands his core competency area where he is playing nicely, and then he tries to understand what is to be done, what all improvements are to be made. Now this is basically, there is something called, you also compare the prior period things, right? In the last match, where all did he play the shots? In the forthcoming match, what can be anticipated? You know, a bowler comes with full preparation that I'll give a particular angulation of ball so that my batsman goes out, right? Why it is done? This is something called as analysis. This is a 360-degree analysis of a batsman for the bowler's knowledge and also for the knowledge of the batsman. Similarly, it's done from the second perspective of the bowler also, where all he throws the ball and then how the shots are placed and what is his best amount of shot. Why we are dealing this. In this also there is a analytical procedure that is done. What is done here? There is some kind of analytics that is done. And what is our essay's name? Analytical procedure. Then you might have seen there are companies wherein they give a graph of their profit with respect to the sale. So the sale increase, the profit increase, sometimes it goes down, sometimes it goes up, and then eventually it goes up. If it's based upon number of years, so what is the profit? You can actually create a graph out of it. Then you might have read some particular chapters, financial ratios. There is a particular chapter wherein you deal with debt equity ratio, you deal with gross profit ratio, net profit ratio. Why are these things done? These things are analytical procedures. So any kind of linear regression, progression, ratio analysis, trend analysis, some kind of graph or charting that is done is what is actually your analytical procedure. Now, what exactly is the definition of analytical procedure? When you see the definition of analytical procedure, it tries to establish a relationship. I write my name as CA Riddhi Jain. So what happens is, if two Jainis, they sit next to each other after some eventual amount of talk, we try to establish relationship. Oh, you might be so and so and so and so. So what happens is there might be some kind of relationship. So what you are trying to do here is you're going to establish relationship between the financial and non-financial data that is believable. Now, to give you an example, if there is a salaried employee, so there might be some number of workers who are given some X amount of salary every year. Now, you have to check this particular thing. If you just check the salary and if you check the number of workers given a particular amount of salary or a slab of salary, you might go wrong. Maybe you have to see the competency of the also of the person who is given a particular amount of salary. Now, suppose for instance there is rent in a particular location of your city. The rent might be like 10,000, but the rent that is taken in the balance sheet PL is 50,000 in the similar location. So it's comparatively much more high than it should have been. A person like a auditor or me going for audit, if I just do okay, rent is 50,000 and it's okay. No, I have to compare it with the normal industrial norms or the parallels that is kept there. So once I compare something, I get to know, oh my God, this has to be nearly in the range of 10,000 and something written there is 50,000. That means there is a chances of material misstatement that can happen. So these kind of things are covered in your essay 520. What is the name of this essay? Essay 520, analytical procedure. You have to analyze the things. At what time do you analyze the things? During the planning phase, during the testing phase, and even when everything is completed, then also you need to check everything. So what is this particular thing? This is analytical procedure. It goes on every time, planning stage, your testing stage, even your completion stage. Now, if you actually see this particular thing, substantive analytical procedure, have we read this particular thing ever before? The answer is yes. When you read audit evidence, you see there are two ways of getting audit evidence. One is risk assessment procedure, other is substantive analytical procedure. So once you apply substantive analytical procedure, you will find that there is some kind of analytics that can be established. So when you would have read the substantive analytical procedure there, so there was substantive procedure and it was divided into two parts, and this substantive procedure was part of further analytical procedure. Okay, so what happens is there is audit procedure. Audit procedure has two types. First is risk assessment procedure. Second is further audit procedure. This further audit procedure is divided into two parts, and those are test of controls, and this is substantive procedure, further divided into two parts. And what are these two parts? Substantive analytical procedure and test of details. So once I see this test of details, this particular test of details is further divided into two parts. Test of details here, if I divide it into two parts, that is vouching and verification. So this is substantive procedure where you do the test of details, you check everything in detail. And in substantive procedure, in substantive analytical procedure, what do you check? You check everything at the assertion level. What exactly is assertion level? Something that is predicting your whole soul balance sheet. What is the assertions of your balance sheet? Assertion is found in every element of your balance sheet and it is covered in cover MP. This is completeness. This is occurrence. This is valuation. This is existence. This is right and obligation. This is measurement. And last one is your presentation. So this particular assertion, these assertions are found in all your balance sheet and all your PL items. When you disintegrate into lower levels, you'll find that every balance sheet PL item, when covered in depth, when you see it with a microscopic view, you find that these assertions are found in every kind of item of balance sheet. when it is happening all in substantive analytical procedure. So what all things are to be read in substantive analytical procedure? Okay, first of all, it says what is the meaning of substantive analytical procedure. So meaning is very simple, wherein you try to establish a relationship between the financial and non-financial things. It's called as substantive analytical procedure. There's a plausible relationship between the financial information and non-financial information. What is plausible? Some kind of information at which you can believe. ऐसी कोई information जिसके ऊपर आप believe कर सकते हो is called as plausible relationship. So there is a definition of substantive analytical procedure which says that if you try to establish a relationship between the financial information or non-financial information by evaluation of the financial information, then it is called as substantive analytical procedure. This is called as analytical procedure. I'll take you to page number of 4.98. See what it says. Substantive analytical procedure is a procedure wherein means evaluation of financial information where you analyze the plausible relationship. What is plausible relationship? Something that is believable. You can believe at what things? Financial and non-financial data. If you try to compare them, then it is called as analytical procedure, right? अब ये analytical procedure होता है ना, there is an example. If there is a salary kind of relationship that I said, or if there is rent or wages, that is as per industry norms, it's different and what is given is different. So suppose you try to analyze the wages of a worker, then total number of wages per worker and total number of workers. Wages per worker is your financial information and this is a non-financial information. When you try to establish a relationship between both the things, then it is a analytical procedure, right? So you have to do is you have to compare the entity's financial information and you have to be considerate about the relationship between the same by using any kind of procedures, various other procedures that is called as analytical procedure. Now, what kind of information it could be? Types of analytical procedure can be, it can be applied on the prior period item. Suppose I am a batsman. In last match, how did I play the match? In the next round, what is anticipated? Like Surya Kumar Yadav is a very good batsman. So in the last match, how was his play? In the next match, how is going to play? What is anticipated? And then how are the people in the relevant industry making out the things or how they are doing the things? So whenever you develop a analytical procedure, you have to keep in consideration few points. Comparable information from the prior period. So you have to see the prior period. You have to see the relevant further period. That is you have to anticipate the future process. That is anticipate the budgets. And last is you have to see the wholesale industry. You have to see the wholesale industry, right? See, it's given here. So you have to see the anticipated result of the entity, like you have to see the budgeted things and you have to see the similar industry information in order to compare it, right? Now, if you see the gross turnover ratio and there is a particular example, inventory turnover and gross margin, there's a client and the illustration is given, this is the inventory turnover, this is the margin. So you perform various analytical procedures, you try by simple statistical technique, over the consolidated financial information, you actually compare the data. When you compare the data, how do you compare the data? So you compare the client's data with wholesale industry data. What you are going to do is you'll compare the data with the wholesale industry data. Then client's data of the similar prior period. Comparison of client's data with prior period and then client's data with his expected result. Now you're looking from the client's point of view. There is also an auditor. Auditor might also have some kind of expectation from this particular data. So what you will do is you will compare the client's data with auditor's expected results and he will determine client's data with expected results using non-financial data. Who is doing this? This is to be done by the auditor. So one, you have to see the client's data from the eyes of the client. When you see, so you'll compare the client's data with the industry's data. What is the expectation of the client? You'll compare the client's data with similar prior period data. What is his expected result? How the client's data is compared is also dependent on the auditor. So what kind of results is he expecting? Who is he here? The auditor. And you have to compare client's data using non-financial data. So something that is not in monetary limits. So that is also to be compared. Anytime that you do audit, what is your major objective of doing audit in order to get SAAE? What is SAAE? Sufficient, appropriate audit evidence. So it has to be reliable and relevant audit information that you're getting, and it should be free from material misstatements. This is what you read in SA 500 also. Here also, what you have to see is that this particular data that you're getting is reliable and relevant. At the same time, analytical procedure, when are they performed? At the end of audit, in order to bring out overall conclusion and understanding of the entity. If it is giving a consistent, if the financial statements are being consistently following the particular things, and that is how you get the analytical procedure. So what exactly is the purpose of audit procedure? This particular analytical procedure, a kind of audit procedure that you are doing, what is the need? What is the particular objective of doing this particular thing? So in order to do substantive analytical procedure, there are few things that you have to always keep in mind. What are the few things that you have to keep in mind while doing the analytical procedure? I'll take you to the page number. Okay, this is page number 4.109. If you go to the page number 4.109, determine suitability of analytical procedure. Once you find out this analytical procedure is suitable for me, you have to see the reliability of analytical procedure that you're using, and then you have to see what is your expectation, what is the expectation in which the results are coming. Once you analyze it, you find the reasons for the difference, or you try to figure out, determine the acceptable difference. Now, for the people who understand Hindi, it's very easy to understand by a trick. Like your mom figured out a guy for you, so you are telling that, Mama, वो लड़का मेरे लिए suitable नहीं है because I don't find him reliable. मेरी जो expectation है उससे वो बिल्कुल ही different है, and because मेरी expectation बहुत different है, तो मैं उसके बारे में, और ये ऐसा difference क्यों आ रहा है उसके बारे में मैं investigate करूँगी, right? So you have to see 4 kind of things. First is suitability. Second is reliability. Third is what kind of expectation you have and how you're evaluating is. And last is what is the difference, or what is the deviation or difference from the expected value that you have. You have to analyze it. It is S red, or you can even think of that your mom has brought a guy and you're actually thinking you don't find him suitable, you don't find him reliable, so you expect something different from him, and then you have to investigate about him. Now, why exactly I brought this up? Analytical procedure, when it is used as substantive test, what you will do is you'll figure out all these things. So whenever you apply substantive analytical procedure, first thing that you will do is you will see the suitability of the information that is provided to you. When you see the suitability of information, the first thing that you see is what is the volume of data over which you are applying your substantive analytical procedure. So you will see to the large volume of data, it can be easily predicted over a period of time. So you'll see the volume of data. What is the second thing that you need to see there? The second thing that you need to see there is what is your planned analytical procedure. When you perform your planned analytical procedure based on expectation that relationship among the data exists and continue in absence of known conditions to the contrary. So you have to see the conditions, you have to see what is your planned analytical procedure and in current conditions how they are functioning and how you expected it to be. So that is to be seen there. And then you have to see what is the effect on its material misstatements. What kind of material misstatements? When you apply it using the suitability part, and then you see the what is the material misstatement in individually or in aggregate, how much material, how much misstatement is there that it will be a material misstatement. However, suitability of particular analytical procedure depends upon auditor's assessment of how effective it will be in detecting misstatement that in individually or aggregate combined to form a material misstatement. How much it is materially misstated, what your financial information. So in some cases, unsophisticated predictive model is also used. So what it is here, it is suitability of your analytical procedure. When you check the suitability, if it is for a good volume of data, great enough. You have to see that what is your plan and what is your expected and what is the real analytical procedure that you're using and what is the difference there. What is the next thing that you have to check? You have to see what is the material misstatement individually and in aggregate. What are the material misstatements there? Once you check it, sometimes there are times when your predictable unsophisticated predictable model is used for the analytical procedure. So what is this? This is suitability. When you see reliability of information, did we see reliability anytime before? Yes. While we studied audit evidence, we did see the reliability part. What did we see in the reliability part? If it is coming from an internal source, it's a very good information. If it is coming from an external source, if it is coming from an independent source, is a good information. So your source of information, if I write this, I can give it a short form like SCNC. From where it is coming? If it is coming from any independent source, or if it is coming from any internal source, and the internal control is very good, the information becomes reliable. So that information should basically be comparable. Any information coming to you should be reliable. Like reliability of information is dependent on the fact that is it really comparable? Are two informations comparable? You cannot compare like kilogram with liters, right? Those are the two different units. So it is said that the information should be comparable to each other. What is N here? The nature and the relevance of the information. When you see N, it is nature and relevance of the information. What are we looking at? The reliability of information. In order to check the reliability of information, you will have to do this. In order to check the reliability of data, you're doing this. You are seeing the source of information, you are seeing the comparability, you are seeing the nature and relevance of the information. What is the last thing that we are looking at? What is the control that was present there? What is the control? What is this control? Control is your internal control. If your internal control is good, everything is good. This is nature and relevance, right? So anytime that you see substantive analytical procedure is to be used, first you'll see the suitability. Second thing, you'll see the reliability. Reliability is based on SCNC. What is S? Reliability of information, source, from where you're getting the information. What is the nature and what is the relevance of the information? Are they really comparable and what controls are they prepared? So these are the things that you see in the reliability part. Then you develop a kind of expectation. You expect that the result should be a particular results that you are expecting. So if you have some kind of expectation and then there is a difference, so you will see the accuracy of your expected results and results of substantive analytical procedure. Degree to which information gathered can be disintegrated. You will have to divide the information, bulk information, two pieces into multiple pieces in order to analyze that particular information. What you're doing here, you are actually evaluating that particular information that you're getting. You have some kind of expectation, so you try to disaggregate that particular information. Last thing, you'll have to see the availability of information. Availability of information, are there informations that are financial and non-financial that are available? So when you check these three things, you're actually checking, or you are actually seeing, you're evaluating expectation, whether the expectation is sufficiently precise, by three ways. What are those three ways by which you are checking the same? You see the accuracy of the things provided to you, you disintegrate the whole soul information. Once you have disintegrated the whole soul information, lastly, after disintegration, are you really provided with both the information that are financial and non-financial information, right? I hope it is clear. First you see the suitability, then you see the reliability, then you actually try to evaluate and you compare it with your development of expectation. At the last point, what you have to do is, in case you don't find the guy specific, you investigate. How do you investigate? You use the inquiry method. When you use the inquiry method, you will inquire the management, and you'll also perform further procedures or perform other procedures as necessary if there is a suitable difference between the recorded amount and your expected amount. You're going to do two things. Either you're going to do the inquiry part, or you are going to perform the other procedures. Now what happens is, if there is an acceptable difference, you'll have to perform SA 330. What is SA 330? Your response to the assess risk. जितनी भी risk आपने assess करी है, उसको आप कैसे response करोगे? Somebody shooting you, somebody trying to slap you, you try to hold the hands. Now what is that? Your response. If you have some kind of assess risk, how do you actually firefight it back? What is your response to it? Right? So that is called as firefighting back over something. When you do that particular thing, that is actually a compatible feature of how you react in a different or a weird situation, right? So what we are actually doing here is, you see substantive analytical procedure. How do you get evidence in substantive analytical procedure? You see the suitability, you see the reliability, you see the difference, you evaluate the difference, and at the end, when you get the difference, what is the difference between expected and recorded value? And then you use SA 330, your response to assess risk by inquiry method, or you perform further other audit procedures in order to get information about the particular financial information or non-financial information that you have in hand, in order to bring in your audit report as your audit evidence, right? So this is a particular way of reading the analytical procedure. Now the most important thing here is, okay, so how do you obtain evidence in case of substantive analytical procedure? The words are suitable, reliable, expectation. Difference है तो you need to investigate, right? In case of investigation, you do the inquiry or perform other audit procedures, right? When you have some kind of expectation, you'll use SA 330, and then what you will do is two parts here. What are the two parts here? What you will do is, you will actually see why the difference is there, what is your expectation, and what is the difference. So what did you actually expect, and what are the actual figures, right? And what is your response to the assessed risk? Here you will see the source of information. Then after looking at the source of information, you will see if this information is comparable. If this information is coming from independent source, good. If it is comparable, good. Then you will see the relevance of control. Relevance of information, whatever information you have, and then you will see the internal control system. When you have to see the suitability of a particular information, what you will see? You will see the accuracy of information that is provided to you first. Second, after looking at the accuracy thing, you'll have to see how the information can be disaggregated. or disaggregated or divided, how information is? Once it is disaggregated, what you will see, what else you will see? Are you given the financial and non-financial information both? So that you can perform all the procedures. So if ever it comes objective of analytical procedure, so you will have to write in order, why do you do this? The main objective is to obtain evidence, sufficient appropriate audit evidence, and you will see if there is consistency in application of things that you are doing, if it is consistently applied, and you are basically trying to find out the final results after applying your substantive analytical procedure. So what are the two reasons that you perform audit? Substantive analytical procedure in order to understand the entity, if it is consistently applying the accounting policies and the procedures, you'll have to check it. Right now, after covering this particular part, there is one more important thing that is covered in this particular topic. And what is that one more important thing? It's here. Factors to be considered while doing substantive analytical procedure. So if you're doing substantive analytical procedure, I try to do substantive analytical procedure of, say, inventory. First of all, I should get the data of the inventory, sale and purchase figures. So I should get the sale purchase figure of the inventory. In case I'm performing substantive analytical procedure over inventory, so I'll also need the closing balance, right? Then disintegration of information. I'll see who are the biggest sellers, from whom I'm purchasing, at what amount I'm purchasing. So I'll disaggregate all the information. Account type. So it is current account. Is it a continuous part of my trading business? What kind of account is the account that I'm dealing with? Am I looking at some kind of fixed asset? Here it is inventory, so it is a current asset, right? What is the source of information? If it is coming from any independent source, outside source, by external confirmation, from where am I getting the information? What is the predictability? What do I expect here? What is my expectation in regard to this particular inventory? What might be the closing inventory? What might be the gross profit is my kind of expectation from the inventory? When I see predictability, what is the nature of assertion? In case of inventory, it is existence, and second thing is, what is the assertion? Existence and condition of that particular inventory. What can go wrong? Like suppose for instance, there's a staff who steals everything. Yeah, in that takes off some kind of inventory from the industry. So what can go wrong? What are the things that can go wrong in case I am doing substantive analytical procedure over a particular thing, or something from the financial statement that I've picked up on which I am using substantive analytical procedure? What are the things that I'll see there? Availability of data, disintegration of data, account type, source of information, predictability, nature of assertion, and what exactly can go wrong. After I do everything, then only I'll get the final result using the substantive analytical procedure. How do you do this substantive analytical procedure? By creating graphs, by ratio analysis, by trend analysis, right? This is something that we've seen too, or this is a very easy thing to learn and understand. So what are these? These are the techniques for substantive analytical procedure. These are the 4 techniques. So array, these are the tech, okay, techniques, right? So when I say these are the techniques, so you have a reasonableness, then you have ratio analysis, then you have trend analysis, and then you have structural modeling, right? When you see this trend analysis, what is trend analysis? Trend analysis is nothing but you trying to compare it with other periods, like salary of 1 year is compared with other years. We are in 20, 23, 22, 21, 20. And this is the amount of salary. 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 3 lakh, 4 lakh. So you are actually looking at it, that how is the salary provided. You see the trend of the salary. So this is how you do the trend analysis. Then you see the ratio analysis. Where do you use ratio analysis? Debt equity ratio, GP ratio, NP ratio. There are so many places. Trade receivable, inventory turnover, freight expenses as a percentage of sales revenue, right? What is reasonable analysis? The reasonable analysis is whatever you are doing, is it really reasonable? Like how much amount is accrued, how much is prepaid, how much you are adjusting, whatever you are doing there is to be seen. So that is reasonableness of the information. When you see the reasonableness of the information, which page is that? For 107, right? Page number 107. Here it goes. So when you see reasonableness, what all things you have to see is it really reasonable in this particular industry to have this kind of information, like what is the raw material consumed, raw material to your production cost, what is the wastage per percentage against my production, what is my work in progress, what is my discount, there's a particular discount that is given. So is it really reasonable? Is that particular guy taking so much amount or consuming so much item that this particular amount should be given to him as a discount? Then revenue based on premises, and then there is linear regression. You see there is a linear regression over a period of time. Something is falling, something is rising. What is that? That is called as structural modeling, right? So these are the ways by which you can do the analytical procedure. Thank you from my side. All the best for your examination. I hope substantive analytical procedure, SA 520 is completely clear to you. All the best for your examination. Do like, subscribe to this particular channel. And yes, remember, audit is a very easy subject. The only point is you have to first analyze the things on your own and then go ahead with the interpretation. Thank you so much.